Where do I even start? Okay, couple of things. So it is November 30th, alright? Technically Vlogmas starts tomorrow, so you would think the busiest times are gonna be the week before Vlogmas, trying to set up, and like, you know, first week of Vlogmas. I got the stomach bug. I am on tomorrow will be day 6 of the stomach bug. So it put a wrench in my plans. I've been doing my best. I've been trying to keep up. I had to flip some things around, but you know, we're doing our best. So today, this is the drunk wrap up. Welcome to day 2 of Vlogmas. I refused to do anything but put on pajamas and do the video. I showered. I actually brushed my hair. I typically don't brush my wet hair, but I brushed my hair. So that was the best you were gonna get out of me. Get in your little cozy pajamas. I've got on at least a Christmas shirt. It says Feliz Navidad. She's Christmas. Some comfy pants and some really thick, cozy, comfy socks. I not only had the stomach bug, I started my period today. What is that? I'm being attacked by all angles, literally every angle. For the past week, I've been so down bad. I wanted to do it. I'm determined to do this. We don't quit. We're not quitters around here. Get into some cozy PJs. Get a bottle of wine, and we'll do this together, alright? Unlike the last video, I have not started drinking yet. So, the thing is I had Twisters? The new one with Glenn Powell and Daisy. And then it ended and just a new movie started playing. Like in my head, I was like, okay, when the movie ends, I'll start. A new movie started and it's all of a sudden like really good. It's like one of those disaster movies. I don't even remember what it's called, but it's with Emmy Rossum, Dennis Quaid, and Jake Gyllenhaal. So like, instantly I was hooked. So that's what I've been doing for the last 20 minutes. Instead of prepping for this, I've been watching that movie. On top of all this, I haven't really been craving much food for the past week, like even over Thanksgiving. Like I just haven't been hungry because I've been nauseous. And the one thing I was craving was some puppy chow. I've never made puppy chow, but I was like, that's one of the easiest things ever. I want it. No one's gonna make it for me, so I'm gonna make it for myself. I somehow coagulated the butter and chocolate. Now, if you don't know, I went to literal culinary school. I have a degree in baking and pastry, and I coagulated butter and chocolate. So I fucked up the puppy chow. If you don't know what that means, the chocolate seized up and got really hard, and it was not drippy. I still don't know what I did wrong. Graduated with high honors from a baking school, and I fucked up puppy chow. But we're gonna start this video off with a shot and a chug of Pepto-Bismol. These are old, and hopefully they don't. God, I'm gonna regret this. I'm not gonna lie. My stomach's gonna be fucked up tomorrow. Shot number 1, down the hatch. Just a little preemptive work. These I got from a party that I never opened. 20% alcohol. That'll get us there quick though. Also on the bright side, I haven't eaten that much, so I feel like it should happen pretty quickly. This one's called Porn Star. I think it's a mix of raspberry vodka and blue curacao. I'm confused how that makes it 20% alcohol though. I also don't really know how to take this. Oh, it hit me. That smells like rubbing alcohol. No. No way. Like, actually, no way. It smells like straight rubbing alcohol. That can't be healthy. Okay, so now I know why it's 20%. It's rubbing alcohol. That's not, I literally won't take that. That won't be happening. Nope. I do have another one. We can smell it. We'll see what it's like. It's called Pussycat, and it gives me no anything. One is obviously a cream side, so I have low hopes for this one. And I've had it for a while. I think I've had it, nope, since Halloween. This one smells good, at least. The cream one makes me nervous. What if I poured my Pepto as the cream side? I'm such a wimp when it comes to these. Like, I'm scared I will throw it up, is the thing. We're gonna start with a high noon, because I am scared I'm gonna throw it up. Now I'm thinking, like, maybe I should try the wine. See what tastes the best. Because it's not this. This isn't going to plan. It's a wrap up and we haven't even started. I haven't even touched a single book. Fun fact, I threw this wine up the other night. It was one of the first signs that I was sick. That's a hefty glass. And I don't even like this wine that much. We're not starting on a strong note, but it's okay. We're gonna pick it up. We're gonna pick it up. Don't worry. Do you have your wine? I'll wait for you to get your wine. It's definitely not so I can keep stalling. It tastes like a foot. I couldn't have liked a single alcohol that I picked to bring up here. Not a single one. But the show must go on, so I should have prepped better for this. But like, then again, I was sick for the past week, so you're lucky I'm here at all. The smell is awful. I'm going into this with a bad attitude. Trying to shake it out. Shaking out the bad vibes. Shaking in the drunk vibes. Let's just go over the stats. We can do the stats first. That doesn't need to be anything crazy. November. Less books, but they were bigger books. I also could have read more, but I didn't read any. It's already hitting me. I didn't read any the past week. I could have finished, honestly, the book that I'm in the middle of right now, and probably another one. But I didn't because I couldn't read. Because I was sick. That one was fine. Alright, 6 total books. We read. 1, not we. Big Mama read. 1 horror, 1 fiction, 2 fantasy, and 2 like Christmas romance books. So kind of like a wide range. We had a lot. We switched it up a good bit. 2 audiobooks, 2 Kindle books, and 2 physical books. Period. A total of 2,518 pages, which is more than last month. And I read 8 books last month, so take that. The average rating was a 3.9. That's frustrating because I started the month on a high. 3 in a row on a high. I was like, this is gonna be the month that I have an average rating of above 4. And no, I didn't, unfortunately. My favorite of the month was Quicksilver. And then my least favorite was The Wedding Witch. I think I've decided I'm gonna go in order of least favorite to favorite again, as opposed to the order that I read them in, because I think I like doing that the most. And it'll give me time to get loosey-goosey. Okay, scratch that. I've decided I'm gonna go in order of when I read them. The books that I read in the beginning of November, they feel so long ago. I'm gonna struggle. I'm just warning you now, I'm gonna struggle. But then I will, for each of them, probably not all of them, but for some of them, I'm going to cut so I can spoil shit. So I can talk about things that will be spoilers, because I want to talk about them more in detail. So if you don't want to know what happens, I'll let you know when you can skip, because that's more fun to me. And if you don't care, or you've read them, you'll get to listen. I will say I'm starting to feel it, and I've had that little bit. I am glad though. I knew myself, and I've started to take notes after and like as I'm reading books during the month, because I know I'm gonna forget what they're about. It's just gonna happen. Holy shit. I'm looking at my Goodreads reviews, like of my own books, and I just saw I have 760 Goodreads followers. That's that kind of blows my mind. I've never seen that before, so it's kind of cool. Thanks for that. Anyways, okay, so my very first book I read, finally. I've had this book, I'm not kidding, since the first week of 2022, or like the first month of 2022, probably right when I started reading. I bought this because of the cover. So it has been 2 hours later. I finished my glass of wine. Not that you would know. I could have poured it down the sink and you wouldn't know any different, but I didn't. I drank it. It is 10 p.m. I just went downstairs and watched This Christmas with my parents, so I couldn't miss out on that. I heard it was movie night. I couldn't miss out. But I'm back. A little tipsier. I still have... Ooh. I almost gagged thinking about drinking this. We can get back into the wrap-up. First book. My Best Friend's Exorcism. I don't know why I was putting this off for so long. It was just never, I don't know why. It was labeled horror, and I just didn't really think it would be scary. I thought it was gonna be more like a cozy type read. Let me tell you the plot. So these 2 girls, besties from age, I think like 5th grade or something, like really young. running into the same problem as I did last month. Let me try and tell you the important parts and not just random parts of the book. The best friends part's important. So it's kind of just like going through their friendship, how it bloomed like through the 90s. Like it's that kind of cozy vibe, you know? And then it kind of jumps into like, I think they're freshman year of high school or somewhere in high school. And with these two other girls that they're friends with. They're out at this like cabin and something creepy happens and okay. Let me find the names again. Abby and Gretchen. Abby is our main girl who it's from her POV, and Gretchen's her best friend who the whole story is about her getting possessed. So Gretchen like runs off of their dock to go like jump into the lake, and all four of them at this like sleepover, this slumber party at this lake house, they all took acid or something. I think it was acid, and she jumps off, but then like as she's about to jump off, they all realize that it's low tide, so they're like, oh fuck, she's gonna like kill herself. So they go, can't find her. They're like, where the frick did she go? So they go searching because they're surrounded by all these woods. They go searching in the woods and they find her like really dirty, and like hours later it's like really kind of freaky because there's this like old house, this like haunted house or like cabin shack type thing back there, and she's found by there, and it's just like this very weird, like something definitely happened when she was in the shack. Weird vibes, scary ghosty vibes. So then it like goes through the next few weeks and she's sickly, she's stinky, she's like all of a sudden starting to get like really mean, and they're like, what's going on? Like what happened? Just tell me like what's going on. Like you're not eating, you're not showering. Abby, the main girl, she's her best friend, so she's like trying to get her to like talk to her, and so all Gretchen's telling her is that like something happened in this shack, and so Abby thinks that like she was assaulted. You know, her mind doesn't go straight to like ghosts. It's just like weirder things keep happening, and so she's starting to realize like she's possessed. So I will say the author, who's from Charleston, the author mentions Charleston and like places around Charleston. He mentioned a Carolina Clemson game, which was crazy to read about. That game literally happened today, by the way. Carolina played Clemson and we won today, so that was cool. Mentioned schools in the Charleston area. I just like didn't know that this took place near Charleston, so that was cool to read about. It was such vivid writing. I felt like I was watching a movie the whole time. I was sucked in instantly. Like it was just such a fun, spooky read, and I read it right after Halloween. It was just so fun. I gave it, I don't know what I gave it. I think a 4.25. Yeah, I gave it a 4.25. And they made a movie about it. I did watch the movie. Wasn't very good. I kind of expected it to not be very good. I feel like books that are made into movies, and the movies are like kind of done. Like they're not huge movies with like these huge actors, you know? Like it is with us, sure, of course that was gonna be like a good movie. But these like little smaller movies, I feel like it ruins the story for me. It's the same way I felt for like No Exit. Like that movie was just not good. And this movie was just like not very good, so it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for the story. But the story of this book was so good. It was so fun. It was so spooky. I really ate it up. I'm not gonna lie. I ate it up. I started my month off really good with it. The first chug of the video. I can't chug, so I'll just take multiple sips. If I chug, it'll come right back up. Ooh. 2 sips it is. Okay, what did I read next? Oh, I read Quicksilver next. That book is so good. I'm not even gonna remember all the details because I read it what feels like so long ago and I'm a little drunk. But like that book is hyped up for the correct reasons. It's so good. It actually, I ordered the physical book and it comes in 3 days. I'm very excited. If you don't know what Quicksilver is about, this girl lives in like, it's obviously a fantasy, and she lives in like the slums. It is like to the point where they have like this much water to ration out for like a week. So it's her and her brother. This is gonna get actually pretty crazy in my head. I'm not gonna be able to say it very well at all. But she somehow like opens a portal into the Fae world, and she goes into this, she's like dying basically because the queen hates her. She like stole something from the royal guards, and so the queen is like, okay, kill her, kind of. I don't really remember, but she's like about to die, but she's opened this portal, so someone from the portal comes through, can tell she is really powerful because she opened the portal, so he saves her. Okay, brings her into the Fae world, and the guy He's so silly. He's so silly. Ooh, I have such a crush on him. I will say his name being Kingfisher kind of takes me out of it a little bit, but it's okay. We're looking past the name Kingfisher. He is such a grump, but in such a forward, flirty way. Oh my god. She ends up getting like bound to him because she promises to do like whatever he says, and it ends up being like a fae promise, so she can't break it. I don't even know how to properly explain this book because there's just like so much to it, and it's kind of like it would be amazing to go into it blind. There's just one scene. I'll say this can be a spoiler, so you don't need to hear it. This one scene, you can skip to this time. Oh my god. When the vampires come. The vampires come like the first time. And she goes out there to help with Carrington? I don't remember his name. The big burly guy that was supposed to be her brother. Which I fucking love him. Side note, finding out he was fae. I knew I liked him from the start. From the start, I was like, I feel like I'm not supposed to like him, but I love him. From start to finish, loved him. Anyways, I can't remember his name, and I loved him. So, after the first battle with the vampires, when she, like, actually went out there and decided to, like, kick some ass. That may have been the second battle. I think it was the second time the vampires came, and she was, like, out there actually fighting. Yes. And she, like, ended up killing, because she was, like, helping, the friend. This isn't working because I don't remember names at all of any of the side characters. Kingfisher's bestie. Okay, go with me on this. It was the scene when they were like fighting together at the little lake riverfront thing, and he said to her, "You can't die on your first battlefield when you're his sole reason for living," or something, and then went back to fighting, and she was like, what? But before we knew that, like, he loved her. And then the battle's done, and we go inside, and he like, Kingfisher names her like a brother-in-arms type of thing, and goes down on his knees and cuts his hand and puts a bloody palm and taps the rhythm of her heart. I literally was like, and then I rewound and I reread it. I was like, no way. So hot. Literally no way. I know it ends on like a pretty big like jump into the next one. Like I'm ready to go into the next one. I can't really remember exactly everything. I read Serpent in the Wings of Night after it, and now they're bleeding together. Was this one where they fought like that giant spider human alien thing? I feel like it was, because all three of the kings, that was good. That was really good. I ate all that part up. Yep, this book was good. I gave this book I think 4.75. Yup, 4.75. Absolutely ate it up. And when the second one comes out, I'm gonna have to reread it so I can annotate it fully and like really remember everything, because we can see how well that's going. But anyways, Quicksilver, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, what's next? Daisy Jones. I have a lot to say about Daisy Jones, I think. I actually think I didn't take any notes, but I took notes on the show, which I do want to talk about. If you don't know anything about Daisy Jones, which I didn't know anything going into it, I just knew it followed a band. But it follows, okay, so how she writes it, if you don't know, is in the form of an interview. So someone is interviewing each member of the band, and like the manager, the tour manager, everyone involved basically. And then it kind of like full circles at the end, and we find out like who the interviewer is and like the connections and all that kind of stuff, which was very cool, and I cried a lot. Anyways, the first part kind of follows Daisy as like a 15, 16, 17-year-old, and how her parents like don't care about her, and she's really into music. And she's just like on her own, sneaking into these clubs and like doing things a teenager should not be doing. And then it follows also Billy and his brother and like this band they're in, trying to make it big. They're like performing at weddings and stuff like that. And then it kind of shows how their paths cross. Like Billy and them move out to California because they want to make it big, and they're like kind of getting traction and getting like fans. And then she wants to become a singer, so she's doing her own thing. She's moved out there by herself. But she's going through the whole thing of like music producers like want to do her, that kind of stuff. So like she doesn't want to be told what to do. You know, it's Daisy Jones. She's gonna do what she wants. She wants to sing her songs, that kind of thing. And so at some point the band come out with a song, and it's kind of like the Billy show. Like Billy's the lead singer, and he kind of just like runs the show with the whole band. They come out with a song, and the producer thinks that Daisy would be a good person on it. So Billy immediately is like, no, like that's my song. It also follows like his journey, like with his girlfriend slash wife. Their whole love story follows them as well, and it's very cute and heartbreaking and more gut-wrenching than anything. So then Daisy joins, and it's like the biggest song in the world, you know. Then people want more, so she kind of joins the band. They go on tour, all this stuff is happening. It's just like following their story of what happens, and like Billy and Daisy are now the lead singers, and they butt heads, but there's this undeniable chemistry between them through music. But it's just like, whoa, but he's married. I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I think it's a must read. I gave it a 4.25. I gave it a 4.5. I read it in under like 48 hours. I read it really quickly. The end left me shocked, speechless, and crying. All very good. I will say the show, I haven't finished. I still have the finale of the show to watch. As far as book to show adaptations, I think it's really good. I like all the actors. I like what they did with it. Of course, the book's gonna be better. There's just only so much you can do from book to show. And I think the book is just exponentially better. But that being said, the show's definitely worth watching. I'm getting tired, and I still have some lengthy ones to talk about. I wanted to look at my notes for the book / show. Okay, these are show spoilers. These are just very specific thoughts that I had during the show that I wanted to share, so you can skip to this time. I feel like they didn't convey her like hopelessness towards Billy and her feelings towards Billy that well in the show. Okay, specifically in the 6th episode, the Rolling Stones guy is talking to her at the pool, and she's talking to him like really fucked up. And the Rolling Stones guy tells Daisy that Billy just kind of said about Daisy that it's all fake, it's all for show, that like they don't actually have feelings for each other. I feel like in the book, because that's when Daisy like goes off the rails and she like flips the fuck out basically. I feel like in the book you felt that, and you felt like her hopelessness, and in the show she just kind of shut down, and like you couldn't read that from her, but you can in there because you're seeing her thoughts. So it's just hard to like convey that, so it didn't feel as like dire in the show. Oh my god, specifically when she got out of the pool and stepped in glass, like in the book, that felt like a very powerful scene, and in the show she just like stepped on glass and was just like, you know, you get it? You get that? And one of my favorite scenes that I was looking forward to was when he wrote that song about how she's basically a fuck up about her. The way he got her to sing it in the book, when he was like telling her to just yell and just like not sound good and just not be afraid to be a bad singer. And in the show, he kisses her. That's how he did it? Like, where'd that come from? Why did we change that? I don't understand, as a producer, why change what is in the book, because that pissed me off. And then the photo shoot scene when they were doing the album cover in the desert, I was looking forward to like watching them get that, feel their anger at each other, because they were so angry at each other in the book. I was so ready to like see that on the screen and see the album cover that they talked about. And it was just absolutely none of that on the show. Absolutely none of it. They didn't even seem that mad at each other, honestly. Like, yeah, they fought, but it just wasn't the same as in the book. And then they didn't even take the picture that was described in the book. And then we just spent way too much time on Nikki and their wedding. I was kind of over it. Okay, that's it for Daisy Jones, I promise. Halfway. Ugh. Next was The Christmas Tree Farm. Now, before I go into my thoughts on this book, I will say I think it overall got a higher rating because it's a Christmas book and I read it during Christmas. If I read this any other time of the year, I think that nostalgia and Christmassy vibe wouldn't have mattered. So I think it gave it like an extra half a star because of the cozy vibes it was giving. I did give it a 3.75 somehow, but I did take copious notes on this. The basic plot is a little, I feel like it's the most different out of the three. This random girl, we don't know her, she is new to the story. She comes in out of nowhere and has bought the Christmas tree farm in the Dreamland, is that what it's called? Dream Harbor. Okay. She's bought the Dream Harbor's like Christmas tree farm. And she from the start makes it known to us that she doesn't like it, doesn't really want it. It seems like the very first like interaction she gets with anyone from Dream Harbor is this guy Bennett, who we find out is the twin brother, I think they're twins, to, I don't remember her name, the girl in the first book, it's her brother, okay? You're asking too much of me. His, like, dogs, they go on walks on that farm all the time because it was previously, like, abandoned, and she was there, so she was like, hello, you can't just, like, bring your dogs over here, and he's like, oh, sorry, and she's like, yeah, we'll leave, basically, like, she's really mean for no reason. The whole story is just her kind of, like, finding her way in the town through him, like, he helps, I guess, because that's like their only connection is that she met him first before like anyone else in the town, and he is there for Christmas, like it's dual POV, and he's there to spend Christmas with his sister and their friends, okay? And he's supposed to go back by like New Year's or something, so he's only there for like a month. Okay, that's the basic plot. I didn't like her at first at all. She was just like really bitchy out of the gate for like absolutely zero reason. He was nothing but nice and she was instantly rude. And I'm all for a bitchy woman, but it kind of felt like she was trying to give her like the Nesta vibes, but it wasn't working like at all. Until later, I guess I understood why she was doing it, but it just didn't make sense in my head why she had bought this farm when all she did was complain about it. All she did was say she didn't want to do it. She just talked shit about it the entire time. So I was like, why are we even here? Like, why did you do this? Why did you make this giant leap and change of your life? Like, she moved her life, dropped everything, and bought this Christmas tree farm and moved in to this little town. And I was just like, why? If you're gonna do nothing but be mean to the town and complain about it. Like, it was just bad vibes from the start. She also, at one point, she is in the author, has him say, literally quote about Kira, the main girl, even though the chase would be great. And that didn't sit right with me. I don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with a book where the motive is the chase would be fun. That's not romance to me. That's not giving love. It's giving the chase would be fun, and then as soon as I get her, I'm gonna dump her. So it's just like kind of from both sides, I got bad vibes from the beginning. So like the first 25% of the book, I was just like kind of angry and didn't care. But then unfortunately, I don't remember when I did start to like her. I don't remember why. I think just like after we got a few more for POVs, she started to make more sense to me, and then I kind of realized I am her, so that was cool. And then she's just like kind of stopped being bitchy, so like she was just more easily likable. And then we got more into like the classic Christmassy, like go get hot cocoa, that kind of stuff. And then I ended up rooting for them. And I love a deadline romance, so the whole like plot of him, he's only there for a month and then is gonna leave, like I just typically like those romances better than other romances. So it ended up going up a little bit, and I also really liked his grand gesture at the end. I love a good grand gesture, and his made me cry, so ended up liking it. I just didn't like the beginning at all. I get so like torn in these things between wanting to just like give my thoughts like a normal book wrap up, and then also wanting to give like every single thought on every single scene that I can remember. Ugh. This is when it went downhill. Then I read The Wedding Witch, which I only read because it was the third. I was just looking for Christmas books, and I found out that the whole like X-Hex Kiss Curse was a trilogy, and she had a third one. So I was like, sure, let me read it. Did I like the first two? Not really. So did I think I was gonna like this? I don't know why I thought I would like it. I don't know. The audiobook, if anyone has ever listened to these audiobooks, how do you get through them? The accent that the girl gives them is borderline unbearable. They're like Welsh, and the accent is just atrocious. I can't listen to it. It literally ruins the book for me. Like it 100% takes me out of the story, and I can't listen to it. This one got a 3 out of 5 to get that out of the way. Let me pull up my notes.
I have notes.
All right, so the whole plot of the book, you would think, is the wedding witch, so it has to do with a wedding. The back of the book talks about Bowen, our main character, the third Penhallow brother, has to go to this wedding, and then Tamsin, the girl, gets to go to this wedding, and they work together. So you're thinking, okay, so the wedding is gonna be the main event. It's what the book's gonna like revolve around. We don't get to the wedding until chapter 10. What are we building up? What are we building up? Which, in this little bit, he admits he's in love with her. So he's in love with her, and we haven't even gotten to the main point of the book. Where's the build up to the relationship, and why is the build up to the problem taking longer than the build up to the relationship? I've realized like I don't like this author or her books because the romance is like the side plot. Like, why are we writing romance books when it's not the point of the book at all, really? Also, I've realized she loves to throw in a little "you might die" subplot, which like it never happens because it's a stupid book. You're not gonna actually die. She loves to have like 10 different things happening, and they none of them seem to correlate with each other like at all. Like, I don't understand how half the things had to do with any. I don't understand where she was going with half of these things. And then we have this main problem. Actually, you know what? This is going to be a spoiler because I need to get it off my chest, so you can skip. The main problem was this brooch. Okay, my first qualm was the grandma was like, oh, one of you might have to die, so who's gonna give up their life? That immediately, I was just like, what the hell are we doing? Luckily, she was like, psych, just kidding, which like was stupid in of itself. Then she was like, oh, you just want me to fix this? No problem. I can fix this. I can fix the entire book's problem. Easy. I can also save your friend who just made herself a ghost. I can also just like send y'all back to perfect time and your friend will be fine. Like, no big deal. Just like it was this whole book's problem solved by a grandma going, oh, yeah, I can fix that. Okay, cool. I'm glad that we were like nervous and like read a whole story about it just for grandma to fix it in half a second. It was not the vibe I was wanting. It wasn't the vibe of the plot that I thought it was going to take, and it wasn't for me. I did like the end, the very last scene when all three couples were there. That was pretty much the only part I liked when all three couples were there. Don't read it. I'm on my last book, and there are so many notes.
What are notes?
That I feel like I'm just gonna have to read from my notes. I read Serpent in the Wings of Night, finally. It was hyped up just as much as Quicksilver. Let's see what I rated it. I think a 3. 3.25. And I think I've decided, I don't know, I still don't know if I'm gonna read the second book. I didn't really like it, I'm not gonna lie. I think it had the idea, I think it had the plot, but I don't think it was executed well at all. First problem, I said this in one of my last videos, I cannot stand the curse that fantasy books have done where it's like something tits. What is that? What is that? This book is Ix's tits. I've read Rhiannon's tits. I've read so many something tits. Why is that a curse word? It was said so often. I don't even know who Ix is. I was just so over it. I was so over reading that phrase. I don't even know how to say. Okay, here's the plot. This little girl lives in a world where there's vampires, okay? She is human. Her human town gets ransacked by vampires, and the king of vampires, who they call him Vincent by his first name in the entire book, and I hate that. Like, he had no title, he was just Vincent. It's not even a cool name, just Vincent. I think that's his name. But he comes and sees her and is like, you're really putting up a fight. I think I'm gonna take care of you. Because she was like literally biting these vampires, like physically biting their fingers, and it was kind of silly. He then raises her in the vampire world to like protect herself, put up a fight, that kind of thing. He loves her. He's acting as her dad now. There are these trials that I don't understand the purpose. I don't understand why we have these trials. But like 50 vampires go into them, and if you win, you get a wish from the goddess, who like holds the trials, Nyaxis. He's the king and he wants her to go in and win these trials. This human girl, he wants her to win these trials against 49 other vampires. Sure, somehow. So that she can wish to become his, like, it was a fancy word, which I'll talk about in a second. His, like, blood brother in arms, blood connection. She would share like his power as like think of it as like a blood relative in magic. Because if she doesn't win, someone else can come and make a wish to like take over, you know? So he wants her to win, obviously, because he's king. And there's two different types of vampire like districts. There's their side and like the bad vampire side that they just like don't get along. All of them can go in, doesn't matter. So, which brings me back to the fancy term she used. I have never read a book with so many fake fucking words in it. And I found out at the end when I finished the book, there was a glossary. Who puts a glossary at the end without telling anyone. Maybe she did tell someone, maybe she said it at the beginning and I missed it because I read it on my Kindle, I don't know. But I saw the glossary when I finished. That would have been helpful at the beginning. There were so many fucking made up words. I'm gonna put some on the screen because of the amount of words that were made up, and I couldn't keep them straight. Half of them were places that didn't make sense on like who was in what place. It was really frustrating. Took me out of the story. Anyways, that's basically the story. And there's like a vampire that's like the love interest that she meets in there, and he helps her. Blah blah blah. But like the interesting part is they have to at some point partner up in these like trials, but you have to then kill those people afterwards. Like you have to kill your partner at some point because there can only be one winner. It's just that. It's just trials and killing, and she's a human somehow holding her own in a vampire competition. Now, time for spoilers. You can skip ahead because I've got a lot. The book never felt high stakes at any point at all for me. I was never worried that they were going to kill each other. Like, that was supposed to be the whole thing, was that after whatever fucking trial, they were going to have to kill each other. I never once was like, oh no. Which I feel like could have been a really heartbreaking story. I feel like if it was done well, it could have made me cry, it could have been really heartbreaking. And it just wasn't. I just didn't care, like, at all. Like, she never made me sad for them. We also never had time. We never were given time to watch their chemistry grow. We had, like, maybe a couple scenes, but they were few and far between, and just, like, nothing ever escalated. I never saw growth in their relationship, really, ever. Okay. I need a drink for this. This is the part that lost me in the book. So he has gone days, weeks, whatever, without blood. And it's supposed to be this, like, high stakes. He's doing his best not to kill her. Because, Mugs, why are you, like, having the zoomies right now? We're in the cave, okay? I am someone who will allow smut at pretty much any point in time in a book. Ever. Even if it feels ridiculous, unneeded, and extra, give it to me. Don't care. I love it. I always welcome it. This scene was the dumbest add-in that I've ever read to where it pissed me off. When they're in the cave and they've decided he's gonna drink her blood, okay? He's gonna die or drink her blood. So he needs to, like, control himself, and he warns her beforehand that it might make her horny. I guess the biting someone gives them hormones of that type. Sure, if you want to write that into your story, go for it. That doesn't give her the excuse to dry hump on him to completion when he's just trying to live. I was almost disgusted, honestly. Like, no part of me enjoyed that scene. No part of me. And I enjoy most smut scenes. If you picture it in your head, he is literally on his deathbed, and they make this decision that he is going to drink from her and going to have to stop himself at some point so he doesn't kill her. Like, he hasn't drank blood in weeks and is going to finally give in to it with a human. And she does that. The whole point is so that he doesn't die. And she's humping to completion. Feels a little bit like sexual assault, if you ask me. Like, it just felt really out of pocket for that to happen, for that to occur in this, like, scenario. And it pissed me off, and it took me out of the story, and I didn't like it at all. It also just, like, made me think, okay, so he's not gonna ever kill her. He's not gonna lose control and kill her. It took the high stakeness out of him losing control on her. I was like, okay, well, it's just not gonna happen. If she can do that, it's not gonna happen. Okay, also, oh my god. The fighting scenes, specifically with Araya. I don't even remember who Araya is, I'm not gonna lie to you. But the fighting scenes, why was she holding her own as a human? As a human. I don't care how much training you have. She was a human. Sure, she had, like, some magical powers. Like, every once in a while she could pull them out of her ass. She was a human holding her own and winning fights against vampires who are hundreds of years old. Not believable. Not believable at all. I've seen Twilight. You mean to tell me someone like Bella could beat an Edward? Not believable. Sorry. It wasn't like it was fighting scenes that were similar to, like, ACOTAR or Throne of Glass, where she was writing, like, really impressive stuff, or, like, really impressive fight scenes that she was doing. It was just like, he shot his arrow and missed me by an inch, even though I'm paralyzed, and then I somehow got up and stabbed him. How did you stab him? Like, just such mediocre fight scenes. I couldn't follow it. I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't believe it. I had said, like, halfway through, like, at any point I could have just not finished the book because I didn't care about anything that happened. Or, like, I could have been fine asking someone, like, how did it end? Because I just didn't care. There was one part, I wrote down the quote. Hold on. She threw a head at her with her human strength. And this is the quote that she said. I'd struck my target. Ix struggled to right herself, now a collection of uncoordinated limbs that sagged against the wall, her bow tangled in broken fingers. All because she threw a head at her from a distance with her human strength. Just like, what are you writing? What is that? You just want me to believe that? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand where the popularity of this is coming from. Oh my god, there was a scene. I liked Rain this whole book until this scene. Okay, it was Angelica, Rain, and whatever the fuck her name is, all fighting. It was the last three of them fighting. Pretend I'm her and I'm fighting Angelica. I'm doing my absolute best, holding Angelica off. You mean to tell me, while she's actively fighting me, Rain can't take her down? She's fighting me, babe, and you're struggling? She said, my eyes met Rain's over her shoulder for a split second as I blocked one of her devastating strikes. The sheer terror on his face as he tried to get her off of me. You can't get her off of me when she's fighting me? What are you doing? I'm sorry. I can't even picture that. You mean to tell me that man can't get her off of me while fighting me? It's just more examples of like stupid bad writing. I don't get it. Last 2 points. The whole idea of them having to fight each other at the end, it just wasn't done correctly, like at all. Their reasoning for themselves needing to win just like didn't feel desperate. It didn't feel like dire enough. I needed both of their reasonings, especially his because he's a stinky boy. I needed it to be huge. Like his reason to live, I needed it to be huge, and I needed her reasoning to live to be huge in order to actually fight each other, if that makes sense. Like, it just didn't feel heartbreaking. I didn't believe them. I felt like I should have been sobbing. I felt like she should have been sobbing as she was like in the midst of winning, and it didn't do it for me. Also, Vincent fully deserved it because he was just a dick the whole time. Like, it could have been avoided, but that's it. I'm over it. If you enjoyed that book, I want to know why, because I didn't at all. And it's like going back over it now, I'm like, oh, I definitely won't be reading the next book. I hear that like the third one's really good. I don't know. I will say Quicksilver is probably gonna become one of my favorite series, so, but decent reads, not terrible, can't complain like too much, even though I just complained for like a good probably 45 minutes. Hope my phone is still going, because if it's not, I'm not redoing this video, so if it cuts off, it's gonna be cut off exactly where it cut off, and I won't be redoing it. It's probably like right here. Let me just finish it, and then I'm going to bed. Okay, so I've been talking for an hour. Oh my god. I just spilled it. Anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble. I don't know how these are watchable. I'm not gonna lie. The December one will be short though, because I'm probably not gonna read that much or anything other than Christmas books. So, but I will see you tomorrow. I'll see you at day 3. I feel like vlogmas, it's bringing out the real me. Y'all are gonna see a new side of me this month, but that's okay. That's okay. We're just being real. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. I can't get on Instagram after drinking. I just started crying to a video of this coffee shop. They covered everyone's drinks during the lunch rush. I don't know why. It was just Thanksgiving, I guess, and the boss said to just tell them it was on them. That was so sweet.